Good evening, everyone, and welcome to True Crime with the Bad Girl of Playa and the Stars. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. the Playa, a.k.a. Benny the Jet, and with me, as always, is my very bad co-host. She is a professional wrestling Hall of Famer. She is the Duchess of DJs, also the Countess of Cackle, and you know I'm talking about the one and only Boston Bad Girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you guys doing?
Cannot complain. We're all here together.
Good.
It's a good thing, right?
That's it.
Yep. All right. And I was gonna call this next man the Duchess if Brittany or the Duke rather if Brittany's the Duchess, but I gotta call him Dapper Dave. Look at that lid. I really like that. That is sharp.
Well, thank you very much. I try to be sharp. We had a great weekend. Friday night, we put up the haunted pumpkin patch. I sent you guys some pictures. Saturday night we had the big. Thank you. Saturday night we had the big Killer Kowalski IWF reunion up in Foxborough at Conrad's. Great night. Great catching up with all the wrestlers. Great night. And then yesterday, of course, was football Sunday. Football all day, every day. So I got to hang out with Cash and my daughter and Joe and watch football and eat and relax. And we have a great podcast for everybody out there. A sad podcast tonight, but so I shouldn't say great, but a sad podcast. And as always, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
All right. So for those of you in Radio Land, thanks for listening on Want Radio. They got what you want. We're also now available on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM. I think we are also available. You know, when you're a kid, you have the paper cups with the strings. I think we're available on that too. But somehow we've been managed to have been heard so far in 14 different countries, which to me is absolutely amazing. Yes. All the way from Trenton to Taiwan. But guys, like Dave said, you know, we kind of have like carved out a little niche for ourselves as true crime with a twist. You know, usually we have a lot of humor, but tonight there isn't going to be any humor at all because we're going to cover the very heartbreaking case of Iryna Zarutska, hopefully I pronounced her name right, who was tragically stabbed to death on August 22nd while traveling home on the Lynx Blue Line train in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her assailant, DeCarlos Brown Jr., was immediately apprehended after leaving the train. So normally we have, you know, we read probably a little bit too much as far as information, but I don't think that's necessary here. We have a little bit, but, you know, just enough to get you. And I think anybody who has not been under a rock is very familiar with this. So, Brittany, who was Iryna Zarutska?
Well, she was born in, and I hope I'm saying this right, Kiev, Ukraine, and arrived with her family in the United States. What a beautiful girl.
Oh my God, she's
in 2022. She's a natural beauty. Look at that.
Oh, yeah,
unbelievable.
Yes.
Jeez, I'm jealous.
Girl.
Oh my God. Oh. So they arrived in the US in 2022 with her parents, fleeing the ongoing war following Russia's invasion of her home country. She was 23 years old and living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and had a job at Zebedee's Pizzeria in Charlotte, and was also taking classes at a local community college with aspirations of becoming a veterinary assistant. On the night of August 22nd, 2025, she was taking the train home from her shift at the pizzeria when she was viciously stabbed and murdered. The assailant, DeCarlos Brown Jr., lovely, had 14 prior arrests prior to this attack. He was last arrested in January, but was released by Judge Teresa Stokes without bail based upon a written promise. That's right, a written promise that he would return for his hearing. Lovely looking judge.
Now,
Brown's.
Let me real quick. Otherwise I'm going to forget. I guess she is a magistrate, and I spoke to Jason Monday, who I do a lot of the Thursday night WFIA podcast with. He's a retired detective, and he's now a private investigator in North Carolina. And he said that a magistrate probably makes about as much as a greeter at Walmart. It's a very, very low level position. I did not know that, but and you do not need to pass the bar exam. But I'm thinking, like, why? Why would you have somebody at a lower skill level making decisions on people's lives? I mean, obviously, she blew this one.
That's putting it mildly.
You know what? It's about time in this country we cut the head off the snake. And you know what the head is? It's not even the criminals. It's these fucking judges. Okay, excuse my language. No. It's these fucking judges that let these maggot pieces of shit they don't even belong in society. They don't even belong eating our food or breathing our air, and letting them out. This really irritates the fuck out of me, because I got 2 daughters and a granddaughter. And you know what? That could be anybody's daughter or granddaughter on that subway.
Absolutely.
That could be anybody's mother on that subway. And all this poor girl, petite little girl, was doing was coming home from work, wanted to get home to her boyfriend, and this fucking maggot piece of shit did what he did. It just makes my blood boil. I'm sorry, but it just judges make my.
She was working at a pizza place. I think she also worked at a nursing home, maybe, and then she was studying at night. She was studying to be a veterinary assistant. She loved animals. She's doing all the right things. 23 years old, hardworking kid, did absolutely nothing. So yeah, no, Dave, you're absolutely correct. You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Sorry for swearing, but it just irritates. Irritates me, these judges. It just irritates, and nobody holds these judges accountable. That's the part that pisses me off, is nobody holds these judges accountable. It's like, what are they, untouchable? You can't go after these judges and take them off the bench and prosecute these people. You can prosecute the president of the United States for false shit, but you can't go after these judges for actually letting criminals back out on the street.
How do you this would have, like, in January, he was arrested for the 14th time. I mean, the guy over the last, I think, 13 years has either gotten arrested. I think he did a pretty long stretch in prison for an armed robbery. I think he was actually in jail for prison for 5 years, and he gets out and he picks up right after he leaves off. His own mother will actually. Brittany, I'll let you read that, because that was going to be your next thing, right?
Yeah. Yep. So his mother previously had urged for his mental evaluation and possible institutionalization after a previous arrest for a violent crime. So Charlotte Mayor Vi Lyles called the killing a tragic failure by the courts and magistrates. To say the least.
That's probably the most intelligent thing that came out of anybody in North Carolina. But I maybe somebody out there can explain it to me. What would have been the logic of somebody who had, I believe he was previously diagnosed with schizophrenia. His own mother wanted him, like, off the streets and institutionalized. With all that, and this kid, this guy stands in front of a judge, and she says, well, you can go, just as long as you sign an IOU that you're going to come back and whenever for your sentencing, your hearing. Are you kidding me? 14
Disgusting.
times.
It's senseless. I mean, I hate to say this, and I don't know if I should, but I'm going to. Do you think that she would have let a white person go with the same record?
I would hope she'd probably not. But I mean, like, nobody should. I don't care what you if you are an 8th grade dropout and you're sitting in that job, you have to have enough common sense to know that there's no way you let this person loose before he's done violent crimes. I mean, I'm not sure if he's actually assaulted anybody, but I know that he has held people up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Just a lot of times, the previous crimes, that is, that's the gateway. They do like a holdup, but sooner or later they actually use the gun. I mean, or whatever. I mean, in this case, it wasn't a gun, but I don't know. I mean, like Dave said, though, where is the accountability? Why is this woman, judge or magistrate, whatever the hell she is, why is she still going to work every day? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like in my job, if I was that incompetent, the old George Carlin thing, they hand you your walking papers. I don't know why they call them walking papers, but
And the thing is, they wanted to put the other guy in jail that actually helped the people on the subway, and what had the guy in the chokehold. What was his name? Denny?
Oh, Penny, right? Or
Penny. Yeah, they actually brought this guy to try to actually put this guy away for subduing someone just like that on the subway. He had to go through a trial. They almost put him away. But yet this guy, but that's why he did what he did, because of guys like him that are on the subways. But this guy is a martyr. They even had a GoFundMe page that since has been taken down for this fucking piece of shit to raise money for his defense.
Here, thank you, Jason. Here, Daniel Penny. So now,
that's
in that case,
Daniel Penny,
he choked somebody out, right? That but had lit a woman on fire, and he's the one that goes on trial.
Also a veteran of the United States too.
Correct.
He was a veteran,
Correct.
Great man. Daniel Penny, great man. I would hope that if my daughter
he prevented anybody else from getting set on fire, just like honor killing show that we did. It was another veteran who, everybody's standing around. This guy gets out of his car and subdues that girl's father. Otherwise, that would have been a murder. He prevented a murder. That guy's a hero. Yeah, but that's actually one of my discussion points. Is obviously nobody did anything. Nobody did anything, and there was, I don't know how many people were on that light rail train, but there were people on that train. Nobody did anything. He did what he did, and he walked out. Dave? Because I actually believe that maybe, and this is my supposition, that people still remember that guy, Daniel Penny, tried to help, and he wound up going on trial. I wonder if that stopped people from doing anything.
Well, you know what? It didn't look like any of those people on that subway was interested to help that poor girl. I don't know if anybody actually saw the full video.
They were all using their phones, and weren't they just doing videos of it?
They knew what was going on, fucking gutless pieces of crap. They knew what was going on, but nobody helped that little girl who fell down between their seats and bled out and died.
I think one guy actually, but it was after, like at the very end, he took his shirt, I believe, and he wrapped it around her neck. But she'd already lost too much blood by then.
Right, and you're right, Kristen. These judges, but nobody holds these judges accountable. That's why we have to go into these. That's why Trump has to go in. That's pretty disgusting. When you got to bring in the National Guard into every city now, because that's how bad crime is. That's pretty bad, because these liberal judges are letting everybody out on the street. Today,
what kills me is these mayors are like, they're up in arms about it. It's like, you know what? You obviously couldn't do your job. You can't keep your streets safe. Yet you're offended because a higher power wants to bring additional troops in to help enforce what you have, the job that you have not been able to do.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you how it is today. Today in America and in society, there's no gray area anymore. You're either on the side of the devil or you're on the side of Jesus Christ. Good or bad. Pick a side. I know what side I'm
I
on.
agree.
I'm on the side of Jesus Christ and good.
Amen.
And you know what? If you're on the side of the devil, fuck you. You don't belong in society. I wouldn't. What, if somebody got killed, if someone disagrees with me because they're a Democrat or whatever they believe in, that's great. That's great. That's what our country's built on. But I wouldn't go and rally and kill you because I don't have your beliefs. That's why it's good versus evil. There's no more after that. There's no gray area anymore. And that goes to our politicians too.
Who said
our politicians are the same?
Somebody said it, and I'll need help from the chat room. I may not agree with what you said, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. What happened to that?
I know.
Now it's if you say something I don't like, I'm going to kill you. That's how it is now.
Right. Right, and that's sad. That's very sad.
What happened? It's true though, Dave. Like it's almost like it's like wrestling now. I mean, back in the day, got to make it about wrestling, right? Back in the day, when I guess it was late 70s. So I'm trying to think. All of a sudden, we got Cablevision, Long Island. So now I could get championship wrestling from Florida. I got championship wrestling from Georgia. There was another UHF station that showed NWA Hollywood. And then AWA, Southwest, World Class. I mean, at one point, I think there was like 7 shows I could watch. And to me, it's like the more the merrier. Like I could never get enough wrestling. And I thought it was great because now, instead of just watching WWF, I had all these different shows with all these new wrestlers that I had never seen before. And it never occurred to me to think, you know what, I live on Long Island. I'm just going to watch WWF. But yet now you have to like WWE or AEW. You have to be in one or the other camps. And I think it's the same way with politics. Back, when I worked, in my heyday back in the 80s, 90s, we would maybe once in a while talk about politics, and you would have people that didn't agree with you, but you had a discussion. You had a debate. You didn't like threaten to knife each other in the parking lot after work. But now it's like it's all or nothing.
Right. It's like you don't dare. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I go out, but you don't dare put a sticker on your car that says whoever you're affiliated with. God forbid you wear a shirt to say who you're affiliated with. Just say Trump, or they'll kill you. They want to kill you or shoot you.
Yeah. Flat tires, broken windshields. If you have, a bumper sticker, it's ridiculous.
Well, I saw Scott Baio over the weekend. I forgot who he was being interviewed by, and they asked him why he really hasn't been around much as far as show business, and he said, I guess he spoke at the 2016 Republican National Convention on behalf of Donald Trump. And right after that, his show got canceled by whatever network he was on. And then he said not only did he start getting death threats, but his daughter got death threats.
Oh God.
So, I mean, this isn't anything new. It's just gotten so much worse. But I mean, so now it was Chachi Arcola, white supremacist.
And you know what? Why has it gotten worse? Why has it gotten worse? Because of our politicians. Because they're the ones going on TV, going on the media, saying how much you're getting fucked in society. Trump sucks. Trying to spew stuff into people's heads, hate into people's heads. If you vote for a certain candidate, you got all the ones in Congress there, the squad. They call them the squad. Maxine Waters, who the first time Trump was in office said, if you see anybody eating at a restaurant, that's a Republican or voted for Trump, get in their face. I don't know if you remember that. It starts with our politicians. Half of them are fucking morons today. And half of them, I look at them and I say to myself, why don't I run for office? These people got no fucking brains. They got no common sense. They got no more common sense or brains than us three have. Why don't we run for office?
I know. I'll vote for you. I'll be your campaign manager. I'll do everything.
These people have no solutions for anything other than hate. 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 They have no solutions for taxes. They have no solutions for crime. They have no solutions for the border. All the thing they spew is hate, hate, hate. That's all they spew.
I'd like to know when it changed, because I'll share a memory, and I think you guys either weren't born yet, or if you were, you guys are too young to remember. But it was in 1963. I was in third grade. I was getting on the bus to go home from school, and the bus driver, as I got on the bus, just looked at me and said, "The president's been shot." And I was in absolute shock. I got home, opened the door. My mom was on the couch crying. And, but when Kennedy was assassinated, I really think the whole nation mourned his death. I mean, obviously there was Republicans and Democrats, but I think we were a lot more unified as a country. I'm trying to figure out, when did that all change? Because obviously it's changed. What changed? What in history changed that? Because now it's the polar opposite of that.
Well, I think the Vietnam War had a lot to do with it. I don't think, I personally, this is just my personal opinion. No one has to agree with me. I think when Kennedy got shot, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do that. That was the start of our government not trusting our government, because they did a coup. That's what that was. That was basically a coup, because Kennedy didn't want to go full-fledged into Vietnam. And then Vietnam came. That was a money war. All they wanted to do, go over there and make money. And I'm just, I think the trust started to erode in our government then. And I appreciate my daughter's a veteran. I appreciate all the veterans in our country.
Absolutely.
All right. I appreciate all our veterans in our country. All right. But I don't trust my government. And then came 9/11. I won't get into that. Yeah. But that's when the trust and shit started to happen after Kennedy. You had Vietnam, Nixon with the Watergate, Clinton, banging bitches in the White House. Just you can't trust these people. It's like they're supposed to be the moral compass for our country. These are supposed to be the moral compass that our young kids look up to. You can't look up. Who do you look up to anymore in this country? Joe DiMaggio's not around anymore. You don't look up to him. Who do you look up to?
Actually, he was a pretty shitty person, though. It's sad, the two people that I looked up to the most as a kid, as far as celebrities, were Bill Cosby. I said this already. Bill Cosby and Jerry Lewis, and they were two of the biggest pieces of shit on the face of this earth. Jerry Lewis was horrible.
And then
Bill Cosby too.
Then you had the government, and here's another thing: you had the government. Boy, I'm really getting agitated tonight. Then you had the government take the discipline out of the parents' hands,
right,
and put it into the government's hands. You do not discipline your kid. You do not touch your kid. And I'm not advocating for beating. I have two daughters who I've never hit, and I have a granddaughter. But the parents have to be, if you don't fear your parents, you have to fear your parents for respect. You have to respect your parents. And I believe the government took that out of the parents' hands when they passed the law. When they passed the law, you cannot discipline your kids no more, or you're going to go to jail, get DSS into your house, and you'll lose custody of your kids. I think that was another turning point.
That's a very good point. I agree with that, because I was never hit either, but I was terrified of my father, because if I didn't do what he said, he would hold up his belt. And of course, we didn't want that. So we complied. And if we didn't comply, or I should say because my sister always complied, I didn't comply, I would be grounded. And that was the worst thing you could do to me. I bet you if he hit me, I wouldn't have taken it as bad as when I got grounded. So, you know what? I'm glad he's not here to see what parenting has become, what the government has done to parenting. I agree.
I think if my dad would be 101, he would be like, he'd want to go back in his grave if he saw the way, the way things are now. And it wasn't even, I got, once in a while, I got a swat. I mean, I was, it's really funny. My brother and my sister both called me Golden Boy. I was the oldest, but I rarely got in trouble. My younger brother, he got in enough trouble for all three of us. But it was always, I knew, even though like I behaved myself, I mean, I knew that in the back of my mind, like there was that, I didn't want to be disciplined by my father. It would not have been very pleasant. So, I mean, that was enough. It was the deterrent. And, the biggest thing that was drilled into us was to respect our elders. And I mean, I mean, the neighborhood I grew up in, I went back to visit and I was in my 50s and my sister owned the house. She moved away. She moved to Maine a few years ago, but I mean, the house was in our family for 60 years, but the last time I went back there was in 2017, and some of my, the neighbors, the adults were still alive. They were probably, pushing like mid 80s, and I still call them Mr. and Mrs. out of respect.
Yep, that's how I am. I'm the same way.
Because that's the way I was brought up, and I'm not going to change that ever. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm, and I demand the same respect. I'm going to, I respect people. I demand it in return.
Yep.
Well, I know. Yeah. Go ahead, Brittany.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say I would have gotten in big trouble if I didn't call people Mr. or Mrs. I'm the same as you, Benny.
Well, I'm going to tell you what this country needs. And I know people are going to disagree with me out there in the podcast land. They should have done this a long time ago, this government. What they need is mandatory service time, the draft. Mandatory, just like Israel does when you turn 18. Not to go fight. Mandatory 2 years in the service. So you get up and go learn some fucking discipline. Learn to get up in the morning, running, you got chores, you're on a timetable. You learn discipline. That's what they should do in this country. Bring back the draft and draft everybody for 2 years. Everybody. That's what half these kids need. They're all fucked up, these kids today. You see them at these universities, and they're just all fucked up. Like you listen to them talk. You listen to what they believe in. They believe in, America sucks. Palestine's the great. They need to bring back the draft 2 years, just like Israel, mandatory. Go in the service. Pick which one you want to go in. You're going in when you turn 18.
Well, I tell you what, my best friend Paul, I don't think he's listening tonight, but he's retired military, and my ex-brother-in-law, my first wife's brother Steve, he is retired United States Air Force colonel. And two of the best people I ever met in my entire life. Just stand-up, honest, hardworking people that I would trust my life with. And like you said, Dave, you see these, nut jobs at these colleges. Like, what's the future of this country if these kids are going to be running the world here in 10, 15 years?
I mean, back in the day, what was the college to get into back in the day? Where did everybody want to go knowing they're going to make a lot of money when they graduated? Harvard.
Right.
Harvard. Today, that's a fucked up college. They're all fucked up. I wouldn't send my kid to a college. I'd rather send them to a trade school. I would never fuck Harvard and all these universities out in California, Southern Cal. They're all fucked up. And that's the place you want them to send your kids, to get a good education and make a lot of money when they get out.
Right. Well, and we'll get into Charlie Kirk. Hopefully, I have a little bit of time later. But his big criticism of the educational system is that educators, instead of teaching students how to think, they were teaching them what to think, and that's absolutely incorrect.
Right. Yep. That poor guy. That's a disgrace what happened to him. I believe there's I believe 150% in my heart. There's more to that story. I believe this kid, this is just my opinion, because I don't trust my government. Or other governments, I believe this kid that they got is our modern day Lee Harvey Oswald. I think there's a lot more to that story. Charles Kirk was a very powerful voice. A lot of young people listened to him, Charlie Kirk. He had the ability to change an election. He had millions upon millions upon millions of young kids listening to him and listening to his reason and agreeing with him. And this guy had the ability to change an election, and they had to get rid of him. Somebody had to get rid of him.
I believe he did change the election, because when you look at I think it was the under 24 demographic, Biden had beaten Trump, I think, by like 20 points, and Hillary had beaten Trump by a large amount as well. But Trump actually beat Kamala Harris. They said it's the first time in like, I don't know, a gazillion years that a Republican won that demographic. And a lot of them are saying it's due in large part to Charlie Kirk and his outreach.
Yep.
And if you listen to his wife, when she gave her speech the other day, she said the evildoers will pay the price. She didn't say the kid's name that supposedly did it. I know there's evidence against them. That's what higher ups in your government are great at doing. But she didn't say his name. She said the evildoers. And that was a very strong statement to me in her speech that she gave about her husband. And he was a powerful, just like the Democrats. Why did they want 22 million illegal aliens coming into our country? 25 million. Why did they want them here? Want them to vote. They wanted their votes. That's why they allowed him in here. Power. That's why Trump's getting them out. But this guy had power, and they had to take him out. They had to take him out because he could change future elections. He could change. He could change it. Young people were listening to him, and he had a good word. And I'm a Charlie Kirk guy, so too bad. It's unfortunate, especially when you see it live on TV. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because we were going to do a show on Aaron Hernandez, which we're going to do next week, but then we called an audible after this poor girl got killed. And then we could have called another audible a couple of days later and switched it to Charlie Kirk. It's just like absolute insanity, like these two tragedies. And they're both tragedies. Young people with their whole lives ahead of them, you know, people could argue that, you know, they didn't agree with Charlie Kirk, but that doesn't give you a reason to kill somebody because you don't agree with him.
Right.
You know, they say that he spewed out hate. No, he didn't. You just hated what he said. That's different. I listened to many of his debates with kids on college campuses. Honestly, most of the hate came from the kids. He was very respectful. Very respectful. He believes what he believes, but he listened to them, and he like I said, he engaged with them, he debated them, and yet they're saying he espoused hate. He didn't espouse any hate. He believed what he believed, and just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that he was a hate monger.
Right.
Again, that goes back to what side you're on. No gray area anymore. Either on the side of the devil who walks the earth right now, either on his side or you're on the side of good in Jesus Christ. How else can you look at it? You can't look at it any way else.
Well,
there's no gray.
Before the show, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like his death is like horrific and it's a tragedy. But I think the reactions that I have seen from people on Facebook, you know, celebrating his death is absolutely disgusting. I mean, I'll throw out an example, somebody that I don't like. I mean, and it's nothing personal. I don't know the man personally. I don't really like Hakeem Jeffries. I don't like the things that he says, you know, but God forbid something happen to him. There's no way that I'm going to say anything bad about him or like he deserved to be, No, I would say a prayer for his family, and I'd mean it, because nobody deserves to die just because you believe in something.
Right.
But see,
I agree.
these people grow up, the people that are spewing hate, they grow up listening to these fucking dumb politicians spewing hate to them. So if somebody, if someone spews, it's like Barack Obama, when he got in office, could have done great things, but he chose to go the other way. When someone tells you long enough, hey, the police are fucking you, the police don't like you, like Obama kept saying, he kept saying it. And by the time he left office, people were actually walking up to police cars in New York City and shooting and executing cops because of this fucking asshole. But my point is, once somebody just keeps pounding it into your head, sooner or later you're going to believe it. And it's our politicians, Democrats and Republicans, that have to take responsibility with their actions and when they talk to people. But half of them are going to jail for corruption. So I mean,
But I mean, I a lot of the comments that I saw on social media, they were from educators, they were from doctors, they were from nurses. I mean, how horrible! Like now, when I go to a doctor, do I have to worry about like he's going to ask me about my politics? And if he doesn't like it, well, will he let me? Will he keep the anesthesia on too long? I mean, how can I trust him?
Do you have a will, Benny? Am I in your will? I'm just trying to want to.
Well, put it this way: I may be the Playa, but like I tell women that I am not the sugar daddy. I'm barely the splendid daddy. I don't. If you like me, it's because you like me for what I am, not my money.
Yeah. Well, that's what I tell women. I don't have. That's what the carnival tells women. I don't have a lot of money. The only thing I have to offer you is my heart, and so nobody's knocking on the door anymore. So the door's opening the doors, getting kind of slow.
I mean, money is very overrated. Money's not going to make you happy.
That's right.
Well, I think money would make me happy as long as I had my health and I was honest and I got the money honestly.
Money would make me happy to the extent that I never had to worry about money. But that would that's about it. I don't really want for anything. Like, I mean, I think about maybe if I hit the lottery, I'd buy myself this beautiful, like John Madden mobile home or motorhome rather, and hire a driver and, I'd watch all these, competitive eating videos and the next day I'd go there and have a meal there. I mean, I live in the real world too. So I'm pretty much, I'm a Grandma Sally's guy.
There you go.
Punk was.
I agree with you, Benny.
I'm a Grandma Sally's guy.
I agree with you. I'd go get a John Madden home and have someone drive me to all these nudist beaches and just go from one nudist beach to the next nudist beach and have a few cocktails and who knows, I'm
having a flashback. I work for the government here in elderly nutrition, and we actually had some customers. I can't think of the name of it. It was actually a nudist colony. And, one of the drivers had to deliver meals there. And he said some guy was riding his bicycle and all he had on was a fanny pack and wingtips. I can't get that one out of my head. Fanny pack and wingtips. Gosh. Imagine like standing in front of the mirror with fanny pack and wingtips and like, oh, I'm good.
Getting back to that girl, it's too bad what happened to her. I tell everybody, I tell my daughters, you know what? Don't let these people in government tell you that profiling is racist. Profiling is not racist. Profile everybody that's around you. Look at everybody that's around you. See who's around you. I don't care if you're getting out of your car, walking into your job, getting out of your car to go into the supermarket. Watch what's around you. Profile everybody that's around you because that could save your life one day.
I
watch
agree.
what people are doing.
Yeah, it's really funny that I mean, like going back to when I was a kid, my parents would always say, "Don't talk to strangers." So obviously there was still that danger, even back then, but it was so few and far between. And I remember, in fact, I mentioned it in my radio show that when I was 14, my mom and dad let me go to Yankee Stadium with one of my friends. Now, the Bronx back in 1970 was not a nice place.
Right.
And it was the Long Island Railroad, I think, in 2 subways. And I sat in the bleachers at Yankee Stadium. I paid 75 cents to watch a doubleheader. Can you believe that?
Wow.
But I mean, the fact that, like, when my kids were 14, there was no way I would let them do something like that. No way.
Yeah, no.
It's a different world.
Right.
I
right.
was still holding my father's hand to cross the street, and we lived on a side street when I was 12. My father, I was embarrassed. And I said, don't make me hold your hand, because I was afraid other kids were going to see it. But he was like, I don't care.
Now, my parents didn't let me go to Woodstock, and I really, for that I still thank them, because I was 14 in 1969. God only knows what would have happened if I had gone. I don't think.
You would have had a great time. You would have had a great time, Woodstock.
I don't think I'd be here talking to you guys.
Did you have long hair back then like that?
No, nope.
No, Jesus.
This is a late in life thing.
Okay. Oh, I think you would have had a good time at Woodstock.
No, I had I had fashionably long hair, but not like this. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And some of my male friends tell me to get it cut, and my female friends tell me absolutely not. So you know who I'm going with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know who butters my bread.
Literally.
Smart move.
Yeah.
I think Bree butters his bread.
That's right.
Bree owns me. I'm not a pet owner. I mean, Bree is a Benny owner. But I really do think that mayor, real quick, go back to that though, when the mayor said this is a tragic failure by the courts and magistrates. I mean, and we've done a number of cases where, people were let out, and if had they not been let out, had they stayed in jail like they should have, a lot of these crimes would not have happened. I'm trying to think of examples, and nothing's coming to my head, but there was a few where, like, they got out way too early and they came back to kill.
Yeah,
and
that's
definitely true
so
here.
So tragic.
This guy, this young man, Trump calls him a deranged monster, and he probably is. I mean, but I do believe the guy's mentally ill. But I mean, geez, 14 times, I'm a judge or a magistrate, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I see this, okay, number 14, all right, you've been diagnosed with schizophrenia, you've already served. Okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to hold you in this mental hospital for testing and extended observation. And we can figure out why you are behaving this way. But until then, you are not to go back out anywhere. And and then put them under house arrest. Well, you let this kid roam the streets with no restrictions. Sign a friggin' IOU. What kind of dumbass are you as a judge?
Exactly.
Well, I don't understand. Maybe true crime podcasters, fans out there could tell us. What I don't understand is when does this cashless bail come about? Like, when the hell did this ever happen? Like,
right?
You beat someone with a baseball bat, no problem. You don't need no money. We'll see you in about 3 months. The cashless bail on you. Like, when did this all come about? This cashless
I've never
bail?
heard of it before. I've never heard of it.
That should be automatically against the law. Trump should pass a law, like and sign a bill that says no more cashless bail
honestly,
anywhere.
Where's the deterrent? I mean, you're going to get set free. You may or may not decide to come back for your trial. Like, now, this kid was supposed to have been scheduled for an observation, but I don't think he even showed up for that. And unless my facts are wrong, he already jumped bail 3 times, and you
Oh,
release him
God.
with no bail.
And I would like
I'm
to
telling
also
you.
ask, right? I would like to
She
also
wouldn't have-
ask if. Go ahead,
Go
Brittany.
ahead. No, go ahead, Dave.
I would also like to ask, how are these people fucking making a living? If they're suffering from mental illness and they're only,
know.
and what are they doing for money? What are they doing for food? How are they surviving? If like, what are they doing for money? Like nobody like
Welfare.
nobody digs in deep, right? Yeah, you know, living the
Well, I mean,
dream.
this guy was homeless, and I believe he was jobless. I mean, yeah.
Well, he's got to eat. He's got to have money for stuff. I'm sure he probably smoked cigarettes, like did something. Like where
Right.
he's, you're telling me he's going back to a homeless shelter at night. That's even worse. You're putting his mental case around other people
I
that
know.
maybe that are homeless and are just trying to better their life and get on their feet.
Well, to me, the true crimes are that judge letting him loose without
Yes.
bail. I think that's horrific, and the gutless people that were on that train that just like they let him walk out of the train, and I know, like, I mentioned my friend Paul and my brother-in-law Steve. There's no way that guy would have walked out of that train if either one of them was there. I
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
have walked out
I
of the
bet you
train
to
if
say
I
if
was
any
there.
one of us was on that train, it'd be the same thing.
Yep.
I would have waited till he walked by me. As soon as he walked by me, bang! I would have got him right from behind. That would have been it. I would have put my Killer Kowalski instincts to work. I would have done just what that guy did that we were talking about before. Penny. I would have wrapped him up, put him in a camel clutch like Sergeant Slaughter, and I would have held on. I don't care. I would have held on until the cops came. I want to let him go. Yeah, I would have put him in a camel clutch and just did what Sergeant Slaughter would have done. You maggot. I would have yelled in his ear, you fucking maggot. You ain't going anywhere. I couldn't
There you
sit there.
go.
But
I couldn't sit there.
He may. I mean, I'm sure he is mentally ill, but he had the forethought to take off the bloody shirt that he had on while he was still on the train. So obviously,
Really?
he
knew that he did something wrong.
That's a cop out. Oh, he's mentally ill. Is everybody mentally ill that commits a crime like this? I understand mental illness exists in the society. I get that. But is everybody mentally ill? It's like everybody that claims to have PSD, whatever that is.
PTSD.
Yeah, everybody claims to have that. It's like once somebody climbs on board with something, they all say it,
I know.
Yes, we need Paul Kersey.
That's actually a very profound comment by Jason, because I believe that is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have vigilantes to take up for where the justice system is failing.
You know who played Paul Kersey? Trivia question: who played Paul Kersey?
Charles Bronson. That's an easy one.
Good. All right. Yep. Just seeing if you're on the ball.
No. I mean, now that was a movie that had way too many sequels, but that first one, boy, that was powerful. Death Wish.
Yep.
And he played that part to it like the absolute perfection. Bronson, Paul Kersey.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to happen. We're going to have. I mean, I really believe between these two tragedies that we have woken up the sleeping giant, and the sleeping giant is kind of pissed off right now, and there's going to be the next time something like that happens, God forbid, I hope it never happens again, but if that ever happened on a train again, I think it's going to be a different outcome.
I agree. I hope.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
And that poor girl. It's just, I just see my 2 daughters in her. I see my granddaughter's always out with her friends. She's 16. I just pray that she's always safe. You know what I mean? Just.
I mean, you talk about first of all, she's beautiful. She's hardworking. She loves animals, which automatically in my heart, she's like a gem. You know,
Absolutely.
she's trying to better herself. She's going to school at night so she can work with animals. She's helping the elderly, you know, on her second job. I mean, she did nothing except go to work every day and try to make other people's lives better. And she gets snuffed out at 23 years old.
And for absolutely no reason.
For no reason for this idiot or animal that's on the street, because the judge is the idiot that let him, you know, yeah, just, oh, you can come back, you know, no problem. You've only been arrested they said it might have been more than 14 times. It's like Ric Flair, you know, did he really have 17 reigns or did he have 21? Like, you know, they know it was at least 14.
Yeah. You know what I think they should do away with? I think this case should do it. No more magistrates. This case alone.
Yes. Agree.
Should be the reason why there are no more magistrates. Just look at that woman. Benny, could you put that slide up again of that woman? Seriously, folks, come on. And makes the same amount of money as a greeter in Walmart. And that is what is putting people away or not.
They're literally making life and death decisions, because obviously the decision she made cost somebody their life.
Yep. Thank you, Benny.
Yep.
No, I do. I agree with you. I mean, you need to have a judge, somebody with that's passed the bar exam, that spent many years, you know, being a lawyer, that knows the justice system backwards and forwards, not this Nimrod, you know.
Yeah.
The problem with the problem with the judges today, though, is they're making rulings in the courthouse on the bench if they're a Democrat or a Republican. That's how they're making their ruling.
You're right.
And they shouldn't be doing that.
No.
Or if they're corrupt, like Judge Bev.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they're corrupt.
So that's another whole separate issue, corrupt judges. But, you know, this one never even made it to be a lawyer.
I don't know. I don't think
judge.
this one was a corrupt. I think she was just like totally incompetent.
Totally. I agree. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and now, you know, I mean, some poor, sweet, innocent young lady will never see the light of day. It's disgusting.
It is. And magistrates should go.
Yeah. No, amen. And I mean, if this girl's death accomplished something, maybe, I mean, it's still a tragedy no matter what, but at least, like, maybe if it accomplished that, you know, then she died for something, even though it's still like she died for the wrong reasons.
I know. I agree.
Yep. Same with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Same with Charlie Kirk. You know.
And Dave, didn't you want to do a quick update, because we're already at 53 minutes after the hour here? Do you want to do a quick update on true crime on the Karen Reed case?
Yes, we'll do an update. Just breaking results. The girl that was on the second trial. What's her name, Brittany?
Kelly Dever or Dever.
Yeah. That's not my name. Say my name right. Kelly Dever has resigned her $150,000 or $160,000 job at the Boston Police Department over the Karen Reed case. I find these results very interesting because she was first a Canton police officer, if everybody remembers. She was on the night all the stuff happened with Karen Reed. She testified to the FBI that the chief of police, Berkowitz, and Brian Higgins were at Karen Reed's vehicle when they pulled it in for a very, very long time. I don't know what happened. I see things. I don't care what she was or what anybody is. I just see things straight down. She transferred out of there to the Boston police, so I'm assuming they were harassing her for her testimony to the FBI. Went to the Boston police, testified in the second trial, telling them my job depends on what I say on the stand here today, Mr. Jackson. I have a false memory. What I said to the FBI was not true. I have a false memory. And Now she has resigned, but I wasn't thinking, and Brittany was right when she told me she's probably going to end up suing Canton in Boston for sexual harassment, which I believe there had to be some harassment, like torture, not torture, like extreme harassment to her for her to transfer out of Canton to Boston, because usually it's the other way around. Usually you want to get the hell out of Boston and go to a small town like Canton.
Right, yeah.
And this was the opposite. So although I thought she was a moron on the stand and an idiot, I think she might have some, if she takes a lawsuit out, I think she has a, sometimes, why does it, everybody out there, sometimes it just pays. I know this might sound fucked up, but sometimes it just pays to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Just tell the fucking
I think it always pays to tell the truth. Then you don't have to remember what you said.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, when a girl
False
comes knocking on the
memories.
door, sometimes I don't like to tell the truth in certain things. Like if a girl comes knocking on the door for the carnival, ask me about what I ate with this other girl. So you can't really tell the truth.
I think that falls under the category of embellishment. I think that's okay, Dave.
False memory. I have a false memory. We'll use that false memory. But
that's
things like this,
sexual kayfabe.
Yes, but things like this that are important, involve your job and morals and your integrity, just tell the fucking truth.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares what any of those police officers think? And she got away from that. That's what I believe cost her job. She should have just kept to her word and told the truth on the stand.
Yep.
Yeah. So to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help me, that's what she should have done.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. All right, guys, we'll wrap this one up. This was one show I wish we did not have to do. I mean, heartbreaking is like one of the words, probably the best one. But want to thank, it was kind of a small chat room, but, it was pretty lively. It had some good comments. And anybody who's listening out there and want Radioland or any of our other audio platforms, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the Playa Entertainment Network so you won't miss any future episodes. And do not forget to check out the Bad Girl every Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Funland Radio. 4 hours of excellent classic tunes. You got to check that out. And you can find me on Want Radio most Sunday afternoons, although this Saturday will be 3 o'clock for Benny the Jet. I've included links for both in the description. So for the Bad Girl Brittany Brown and Dangerous Dapper Dave, the Carnival Man. I love that hat. This is the one and only Playa telling everyone to stay safe, and we will see you next crime. Good night. Bree says good night, too.
Bless you, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, Bree.
Good night.
God bless. Be safe, everyone.